Good morning, Flosstube. It's Lori of MischievousStitches. I want to welcome all of you to my channel this morning. I'm very glad that you're here. If you look behind me, I've changed venues this morning. This is where I love to stitch on the weekends when I'm off from work. I love to listen to this. I sit out here just quietly stitching for maybe yesterday, or actually Friday, it was an hour or two. I actually took a couple of days off from work this week. It's been very hard for me to take time off in the past year or so. Actually, in the past 2 years, I've actually taken 2 annual leave days. So I need that time, and I have so much annual leave at this point that if I don't use it, I will lose it. So in the next few months, I'm going to try to take a couple of days off each week or a few days off each month to compensate and to get my annual leave hours down. But with that being said, I took Thursday and Friday off. So Thursday morning and Friday morning, I was out here stitching. And I love it. And this time of year when it's cool in the mornings, it's not steamy hot with humidity, I love to come out here and stitch and just listen to the birds. You can hear the birds now, and over on this side, you may hear the noise of a woodpecker. He's out there somewhere, and I hear him every morning banging away. I have a wind chime here and a wind chime over here, and you can see and hear the squirrels jumping from tree limb to tree limb behind me. And I just love it. I love it. They demand my attention when they're out here, and they soothe my soul, so I love to come out here and stitch. So what I've been working on this week is just mainly one piece. I shared with everyone last week that I was going to work on my Redwork sampler and try to make headway and finish it up. And that was after I made the discovery, instead of having 2 or 3 pieces on the go, I actually have 6. All of them are whips from previous years, which has been my goal this year, is to knock out some of my whips, all but the one I'm working on. This is the Redwork sampler. This is by Mojo Stitches, and I started this last month after visiting a cross stitch shop and spending the day with my friend Christine. And this is the one I have that is closest to being finished. So I wanted to share with you where I've gotten with 2 free days of gardening and stitching, and this is where I'm at. I'm very happy with my progress. I did not iron her and make her presentable to you today, but I plan on, as soon as this video is over, I'm going to pick her up and start working on her again before it gets too warm. So I finished the last row of letters, and I dropped down and did the bottom left-hand corner. And I started, there is a flower vine that goes directly beneath that last row of letters. So I'm going to work on that, work over, and try to get the right-hand corner. I've got a friend who reached out to me and said that she'd be happy to chart the Redwork word for me. And I'm going to take her up on that offer. I need to respond to her email today. So I'm very excited about that. So I may have it all finished within the next week or so, with the exception of the word Redwork. And I'm going to change it. If you've not heard the story or have not seen the video, my friend Christine and I went shopping, and the colors that I was choosing for the red for this piece were all rusty colors. I like rusty orangey reds, and she just joked around and said I should change it to Redwork instead of Redwork. And just to kind of memorialize that day and that time with her, I do want to change that to Redwork. So hopefully I'll have this finished by the end of the month. That'll be fun. And the color I'm using for this one, I had a couple of people ask, let me show it one more time, is Redwork by Classic Colorworks. Not Redwork. Oh, excuse me. It's Campfire. Campfire from Classic Colorworks. And then what else have I been doing on my days off? I've done a lot of gardening. You can't really see it out here. I think we've put out 2.5 pallets of mulch. One of the goals for me was to enclose this oak tree. As you can see, there's lots of sand. We are in the sand hills of South Carolina, so the soil is not very, very good. The grass that you see is grass that I have each year focused on a patch. Trying to get the soil prepared for it, and over time this is what we have. But the back portion of my yard is still a good bit of sand. And of course this oak, it's a turkey oak, and it is sapping the ground of the water. So I had things beneath the tree, but they don't last. They won't come back the following year. So this year, my focus has been over the past year is all of my food waste from vegetables, potato peels, anything like that. Anything that will break down into the soil, I've been putting around that tree, as well as mulch and soil. And so what we did this year is we put, there's the first row of pavers. We have 2 more to go, and then the topper. But I put down mulch and soil, and I planted daisies. I already had dahlias out there from previous years. Some came up this year, some didn't. And I have hostas because in the afternoon and into the early evening, there is shade there. So I need something that's going to grow with maybe half day's light. Anyway, I'm very happy with it. It's also filled in with daisies. Daisies are one of my favorite flowers. This week, after showing a picture of some of my flowers, someone asked me what my favorite one was. I don't have a favorite one. I love them all. So I have daisies here. Dahlias is one of my all-time favorites, and another is gardenia. I have gardenia bushes beneath my bedroom window, and when they start to bloom, and they have the blossoms on there right now, they just smell wonderful. And when you approach my house to the front door, you're passing those bushes, and it smells so good, and I love them. So the front yard is complete. Our work now begins in the backyard, and there's a spot right here. This week, since I last talked to you, I purchased 2 trellises, and we mulched and put down soil here, and I planted morning glories. And that is just a kickback to my childhood. I can remember them growing in my grandparents' yard, so I bought some morning glory seeds, and let's see how they do, because if they do well, I will bring them back each year as well. So other than gardening, what I did was I took the time to sew up a few bags, and then I realized, I was upset because my last bags, not only was the zipper wonky, but the bags were a little wonky. And what I mean by wonky, my corners were just not what I wanted them to be. And then I realized I'm not using the same Plum product that Elizabeth Ann did in hers. I had some of that when I made the first 3 bags, and then I pulled out what I had been using when I would make Vanna's envelope pouches. That is what I started off making that helped me to learn to sew. And those particular pouches is a thicker, kind of like a felt that you use in it, and I had some left over. And so that's the reason my corners are not just so. And so I'm okay with it now. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, that may skew things, but it did. So this week I have 2 more bags cut out that I've not sewn together, but I did take the opportunity to sew this one together this week. My zipper, it's still a little wonky, but I'm still happy with my bag. So here's the first one, and I accidentally flipped this, and this is supposed to be my inside panel, but my inside is now my outside, and my outside's now my inside. Just a silly mistake, but I got this one done, and you can see how my zipper's kind of scrunched at the end, but otherwise it's fine. And then I made one more, and here's my other. So I got this one right. And like I said, I've got 2 more cut out, and I've got plenty of things to fill these with, and I want to share that with you as well. So my friends, my giggles, it's Donna, Mary, and Natasha, and I had made plans about a month ago to visit the Stitch and Frame shop yesterday. And so we all drove up from our respective places. Mary's in North Georgia. Donna is in a suburb of Atlanta. Natasha's in my state capital, Columbia, and here I am just on the western part of South Carolina, close to Savannah River. So we're all around 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours away, or Natasha's a little less than that, but we're around 2 hours away, give or take, from the shop. So we all drove up yesterday. We met when it opened. I was the first one there, Natasha shortly behind me, and then Mary and Donna. And I really don't know how long we were in there. It was, we left there and went for lunch. I just had a wonderful time. I had a wonderful time. We all go off in our own general directions. We have lists. I did take a zipper pouch with things that I wanted to kit up. I did not kit them all up. I get distracted by the models. They have models and they move them around and change them often. So when I was just up there last month for my first time in like 2 years. And so when I went back this week, there were a few models that were not there the last time I visited. And that's one of the things I like about that shop. Not only that, very rarely do I go to a spinner rack and I cannot find the threads I need. I'm always inspired while I'm there. I always have a good time. But I've talked a lot, so let me just show you what I got, okay? So here's my bag. And this is not, it's stitch related, but it's not a pattern. You know, this is a lamp protector. Now currently I have one of my project envelopes over the top of the magnifier on my OttLite. And this is for that. So this is by Stitchworks, and it's a lamp protector for the Mighty Brights. So they had, of course, different fabrics used, and I'm sure that I probably could have managed to sew one of these up. But I just went ahead and purchased it, and then if I decide I want another, then I can use this as a pattern to do so. But I got this. You ready? And I did get something in the mail. There was something waiting on me when I got home yesterday. So I've thrown that in there with this. And I'm going to share that with you too. I picked up a small pair of scissors because, you know, there's always a project. Oop. I've got to make it quick. My battery's getting ready to die. But anyway, oop, I got these tiny little scissors. And let me put this to the side. I bought Souvenirs of Summer. And I kitted up one that it seems like everyone, so many people are doing, and I really love it. I want to see the inside picture of it. Here it is. It's on the back. This one. And that is Summer Jubilee. Now it called for 18th century Blackbird linen by R&R Productions. And they didn't have that. And they had gunmetal from Week Style Works. But I saw this one and I thought, I like this one better. And I love the colors up against it. So I'm not going to take it out of the book. But this is 36 count Week Style Work Twilight, which has a little teal back undertone to it. And I really love it. So when I put the floss on it, that's another thing about visiting a shop, is doing a floss toss. Most time I either take the advice of the designer, or I just kind of wing it based on what I have in the house that I can compare things to as far as fabrics. But this one, once I threw the threads on it, I knew that I had to get that. So there's that. And there's so many beautiful designs. This will be another one that I really want to do. And I know a lot of people have shown this one, so if you've seen it and you're bored with it, I apologize, but it's new to me and I wanted to share it. Okay, here's a pouch full. Some of them were things I had, so I'll bypass those. This is one that was a model on the wall. And this is called Oh Christmas Tree by All Through the Night. And they had this stitched up. I never would have looked at this one, but it was stitched up on the wall and framed. It was gorgeous. So I bought 2 skeins of English Ivy and a piece of Week Style Work Corn Silk. And I'm going to stitch it on this. And I think it's going to turn out wonderfully. So you may, this is the one that I'm really itching to stitch. So you may see this in July as a Christmas in July start. Okay. This is one that I shared with you a few weeks ago. This one came out in at Expo, and I will cling to the old rugged cross. So I bought the supplies to give this one a start. So I have 36 count platinum linen, which is my fave. It is just my all-time favorite neutral fabric. And then here are, here are my colors. And it reminds me of Mardi Gras colors when I laid them there on the cutting counter at Stitches, Stitch and Frame. But here are the colors, and again, here's the pattern. So this calls for Graham Cracker Fabrics tea set, and that of course is from Teresa Kitten Stitcher. And I love the name of this one. I didn't even know that this was a color, but Green with Envy. I was like, I don't think that's a color. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something, maybe. And when I found it, I was like, oh, wow. I picked up this. This is Happy Birthday America design by Brenda Gervais. I did not get the fabric. I think I probably have something that I can use here at home for this one. But it did have the sampler fabric included. And it is a linen. But you don't have to stitch that part. You have the fabric to do it. And then, let me pull out the rest. I purchased this one around Expo too. This is Antique Vases sampler, and this is by JBW Designs. I just love it. I'm just really drawn to her pieces. And even though the Christmas tree I shared with you is not one of hers, it reminds me of her designs. And I am going to stitch this on 36 count cream Zweigart linen. And I'm just going to use the DMCs. I have plenty in stock in my stitch room. But there you go. And I know it calls for white, but I'm going to go with the cream. And this is one I shared last week. Now, this is the next red sampler that I'm going to start. And this is the Queen's Crowns by Paulette Stewart of Plum Street Samplers. And I bought a piece of Seraphim fabrics for this one. It'll be my first piece of Seraphim fabrics. And it's Thesby. And here are the silks. The silks called for are Sister Scarlet and Old Crow. And I think they look very lovely on that. Let me see if I can get more of the sunlight. Nope. So this will be my next red sampler start. Then, this is another one I already had. This is Caroline Amelia Troll. And I ordered this from Brenda's website, Country Stitches. And this is just a piece of Wheat Star Works linen, and I'm going to stitch it on that. And it called for something else, but they didn't have that in as well. They had some pieces, but not one large enough. And I just went with linen, because you can't go wrong with linen colored fabric. This one I did not kit, which I'll share it with you. Heart of Hearts, and this is the Abby Rose design. I bought this around Valentine's. And I'm sure I can find something to throw that one on. And I bought ABCs of Christmas. And I don't know what I did with my... I did have a piece of linen for this one too. But anyway, this is ABCs and Christmas trees. And it looks like this. So I thought if everything goes well when I assemble my first drum with my Bent Creek Valentine row, I'll make a small drum with this one as well. And she shows you, this is the Great Pumpkin alphabet right here. And they'll make wonderful little drums. So there's that. So that's my haul, except for one thing. Now, I do wear glasses to stitch. And I wear a 1.5 strength, so it's not a very high strength. But I'm starting to struggle when I'm out stitching at stitching gatherings, and I'm just starting to get back out again. But some of the local stitchers, a couple of them use these, and they're called mag clips. Here's the packaging that they come in. And there they are. There's a hawk. Can you see him? I love him. He actually has a nest somewhere across the road. But it's so, I find it so amazing that when he calls out, all the other birds get silent. And I know he's a bird of prey, and that's probably why. But I just love that he has that effect. It catches my attention too. It makes me silent too. So anyway, back to the mag clips. You just pinch them right here and attach them to your glasses. And so you put them on, and then I can see through the bottom half, and if I'm talking to the person in front of me, I can do this. So I really like these, and I'll link them below, but it's really going to help me. If I'm outside like now, I can see fine, but if I'm in a room where the light is artificial, it's not natural, and I'm trying to stitch, I will still struggle on some counts of linen or with some colors that I'm using to stitch. And I think this is going to help me. And I knew about these, but did not know where to get them and didn't know the name. So I'm happy to have them. I'm happy to have them. And I'll get back with you guys in a couple of videos. I have another stitch that I'm going to the first weekend of next month. And I'll let you know how it goes if you're interested. You just leave me a comment below. But I do plan on using them there, and I hope I do so and I'm happy with them. Last thing, last piece of haul. This is what I got in the mail, and this is another one of the Blackbird Design quilting books. Now, I have 2 of them. This is another. There may be more that have cross-stitch patterns in them as well. I'm not aware of those. I just happened to notice this one after watching my friend Lorraine, Rags to Stitches, USA. I will link her below as well. She was going to start this when she was sharing with all of us her mania plans. She shared this one, and I fell in love. So it is not all red, but it's a lot of reds and pinks. It is used brick, endive, purple paint, baked apple, brick, palomino, schneckley, Tennessee red clay, cinnamon toast, calico kitty. Lots of reds and dark pinks and mauves. And this is Early Morning Read. Oop. So this will be another red sampler, or I'm going to call it a red sampler even though it's not monochromatic. But thank you for sharing this, Lorraine. You enabled me, girl. So there's this. And this is the book again, and I will link that below. I'll do my best to link everything that I've shared with you in my description box below in case you're interested. And then yesterday, Mary gifted us all with a little gifty. She's so good. She's so thoughtful in giving, and she never forgets to give us a little something. So she gave us this cute little bag, and she made us some floss drops, and we were going to pick up a pattern, but it wasn't in, that we could start together, and it was patriotic. So she made us a few patriotic floss tags on a little thread ring, and just a circlet of pins, which we have used when we were together with some of our finishing before. And so I'm sure those will come in handy, as well as this little cutie. And this is so sweet. I love the outside. So it has buttons and beads, and it's made of felt. And I'm a pink girl, but I really loved this color too. So you've got a little, is it a pocket? Yeah, it's a little tiny pocket. So you could stick a pack of needles in there. And then you've got some pretty little pins. So cute, just so cute, sweet, and thoughtful. Thank you, Mary. And we also, a lot of you commented we all had shirts, and that was Mary's idea. She found them online. She sent us a message, and we all ordered one so that when we're together, we'll have our little shirts. And it says something along the lines of, we're trouble when we get together, who knew? We're not trouble. We're just trouble with each other. Meaning we're always enabling each other, teasing each other, just enjoying our time together, just like friends do. And then I got a gift, and I forgot to share this. And this is from my friend June. And she saw my post about the Anne of Green Gables books, the fabrics that I ordered. And she got sent me a needle minder. And I'm going to open it up so you can see it better. I hadn't opened it up yet because that's one of the bags that I have the fabric ready to go for making another project bag. And what was so funny about this is when I opened it, is the book. This is the edition that I had as a young girl in my teens. So they're all in paperback. So when I stitched the sampler, the Anne of Green Gables sampler, and then I found out there was fabric coming out, I ordered that. So I'm very happy to have this, June. I appreciate it so much. But anyway, sweet memories, sweet memories. So this week I'm going to continue to work on my Redwork sampler. And I'm going to probably finger through this stash again and just give it some love this morning. Make lots of mental plans that I'll probably break. And I'm just going to enjoy the outdoors. Earlier you heard a little knock on a window. My husband was leaving out. He has a little tournament, the little club he's in that he was going to be attending today. So I have the house to myself. I love my husband, and I love it when he's here, but I love it when he's gone too. You know what I mean, ladies? It's not that I don't want him here. It's just that I enjoy time to myself. So today I'm going to sit here and I'm going to stitch on my patio, and I'm going to drink the rest of my coffee, and I am going to just enjoy my day, and I hope all of you do the same. So happy stitching, and I'll see you next weekend. Bye-bye.